Premier League season for the 2023-24 edition is done and dusted, and whilst we have dissected how exactly it is that Manchester City, the winners, ended up, let's say, winning 4 titles on the trot, a feat that is unprecedented in modern English football, there are plenty of other interesting talking points to be mentioning when it comes to this edition of the Premier League. There is, of course, always the race for Europe, and whilst the race for Europe, if you're talking about it, of course, City already qualified for Champions League. Same can be said about Arsenal, Liverpool and Aston Villa. Those are the 4 clubs that are guaranteed Champions League football. But it's not just the Champions League we're looking at anymore, is it? And believe you me when I say there's a lot of interest over Manchester United and the fact that they finished 8th and therefore out of contention for any European spots, whether that be the Europa League or the Conference League. Or is it? As it turns out, there's actually one way that they can qualify for the Europa League. But before we get to how exactly that's the case, let's take a look at how it is the table ended up and why it is that this season was such a disappointment if you're looking at it from a Manchester United point of view. Look, Spurs at 5th with 66 points and a goal difference of 13 are guaranteed Europa League football. Chelsea, Newcastle, Manchester United were the other 3 clubs in contention, and all of them really ended up finishing exactly where it is that they started before the final game. Chelsea were in 6th, Newcastle were in 7th, and Manchester United were in 8th, and that exactly is where it all ended up. What that would normally mean is that we know what exactly the situation would be for all of these clubs as far as their European qualification consequences and hopes are concerned. But it's not quite that straightforward, because what we do know as of now is that Tottenham in 5th position are guaranteed Europa League football. There's no two ways about it. Any situation, any circumstance can come about, but Spurs are guaranteed to play in the Europa League on the basis of their league spot finish. Chelsea, as things stand, are guaranteed European qualification, but they don't quite know whether it will be the Europa League or the Conference League. It will be one or the other. As for Newcastle United, who are in 7th place, they also find themselves in a bit of an interesting situation, because it could be a situation where they play either the Conference League or they play absolutely nothing at all. You heard that right. There could be a situation where they're either playing the Conference League or they're not playing any European football. It's a very weird situation, and it all really boils down to one club, Manchester United. But how is it that the team in 8th place can have so much of a say on who makes it to Europe? It's simple. That is because whilst Manchester United did indeed finish 8th in the Premier League table, they still have a chance of making it to the Europa League. That is because they are going to be playing the FA Cup final next week. And if they beat Manchester City, then they are guaranteed the 2nd spot that comes for England in the Europa League. Because how it normally works is that the 2 spots that are given for the Europa League will be the team that finishes 5th and the team that wins the FA Cup. But if the team that has won the FA Cup has qualified for, say, the Champions League, like it is the case if Manchester City would win it, then the runner-up gets nothing. Then they have to be finishing in either 5th or 6th. But because in this case City will have won the FA Cup but will not be qualifying for Europa because they've already sealed Champions League, then that 2nd Europa spot will go to the team in 6th, in which case Chelsea will be the beneficiaries when it comes to United's loss. And if that were to happen, then Newcastle would get the Europa League spot that would have otherwise gone to Chelsea if Manchester United win the FA Cup. So it's a very interesting situation, and whilst a lot of Manchester United fans would obviously be despondent in the fact that there's not going to be any European football potentially happening at Old Trafford next season, worry not, there's still at least a small chance. The only thing you'll have to do is beat Manchester City. No mean feat, right? What do you think are United's chances of actually doing that, of toppling City and ending the season with some silverware and European qualification? Well, you can let us know that in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Don't forget to download the AajTak app, and if you're already on the channel, go ahead, check out some other videos we've done as well. For now, from my side, it is goodbye.